by PETCO and PlasticSA. PETCO and PlasticSA are going to represent their presentation today on how to do recycling on plastic. They will briefly explain everything on how to go about recycling, and as a university we decided to invite them today, working together with community engagement team and other stakeholders. So this is an initiative that will be very worth for students, so as well as the community as a whole. So I contacted PETCO because when I was in school I researched about how to do plastic recycling, so I was interested. It was 2017. So in 2018 I met one of the recyclers who is an old lady, and I asked her where does she take this, and she said she doesn't know where she's going to take it to. She was just collecting because she heard that we are collecting plastic and cans. So I did a research on how to do a engagement as a community member. So by that time I was not a student, so it was hard for me to make this dream come true, or this idea to be working successful. So as a university student I came here, and then I saw a need that if we can make this initiative work, or if we can start this initiative, we can learn on how to recycling and how to work together with other stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. How are you guys? Good. My name is Andy Lemdaba from PETCO, PETCO Recycling Company, South Africa. It's a good opportunity to be here. Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent, together with Professor James. We are very humbled to get your invitation. Just so you know, brother, you don't need to be in an institution like this to invite us. Even when you are in a rural area somewhere, you can invite us. We can be there to capacitate those mothers who are collecting and doing recycling. So yeah, and I think this will be beneficial for you guys as students as well. It will be an opportunity for those who are students. Yeah. It will be an opportunity to introduce you to another sector that you can venture to maybe after graduations, knowing the economic status of our country. So there are opportunities in recycling. You will hear about the processes and how you can maybe establish your own company to make sure that you're buying from those people who are collecting on the street. Okay, my colleague will go first because he's my principal. He will introduce himself. Thanks.
Hi guys, how are you? I know it's late. You've been attending. Someone has been in front of you the whole day. If you want the TV to be in front of you now, well, we'll be quickly go through it. So as you are seeing and as you've heard, my name is Kabelo Papwe. I work for Plastics South Africa. We are simply the voice of the plastics industry. My job is to ensure that the same way you enjoy any plastic product, your kids of the must enjoy the same thing, because if it becomes problematic, we have to remove it and we have to bring something else. And in almost all the cases, the reason you see plastic being everywhere is because it's the material that is cheaper than the others. We could probably do other products with other materials, but it's very cheap, it's very expensive. So when it's expensive, it means not all of us will have access to it, and then the inequality continues. So plastic becomes that product, but the way we use it, it requires us to exist so that we can handle it better. So my job is to ensure that we use plastic as the material of choice. However, this is not with an obsession of we want plastic to be everywhere, nothing matters as long as we make money. That's not the case. We focus on ensuring that we take an integrated approach or sustainability, others would say, to ensure that we take care of the environment, we grow the economy, and your health as well. So that's the approach. We represent raw material producers that make the plastic from scratch. There are guys that then take that, convert into various products that you have, your laptop, your glasses, everything. And then we have guys now that are supplying us with the machinery that we need to produce them. And lastly will be our recyclers. So where I've written recyclers, you realize that you don't see any trolley there. You see machines. It's because the guys that you see pulling trolleys or a truck, at that point is still a collector. You're not really recycling. We'll talk about that as we move. So this is who we represent. Talk for the industry. So some of my job would include ensuring that legislation does not affect our industry in a negative way. So if government says South Beach is dirty and I'm seeing 2-liter bottles there, so I want all 2-liter bottles to be banned. My job is then to go to government and say, wait, there are jobs. How can we solve this issue and actually create other opportunities on top of the ones that we have? So that'd be my job there. Okay? Just before I continue, those who are students, what field are you in? Engineering, what?
Education.
Oh, we have accountants.
Education.
Oh, lovely stuff. I thought someone said finance on that. Okay, so basically this is how our partnerships work. We have our producer responsibility organizations. PETCO is one of them. There's also Polico. There's also Sava. These are the PROs in the plastics industry. The glass has a PRO called the Glass Recycling Company. Paper is what we call fiber cycle. So every material that we use, there is someone that is supposed to be taking care of it. As the word say, producer responsibility organization. PETCO's job is to ensure that plastic number one, which is usually your 2-liter bottle, it's not on the floor, but it's helping us to grow. That's his job. This happened because Coca-Cola does not have capacity to be in the country everywhere, trying to take care of the waste that we create. So then we create another arm to be able to take care of it. So that's why PETCO exists, and then PETCO doesn't want to deal with everything. That's why I exist. So he pays my salary, Coca-Cola pays his salary. That's how we work. I'm sure you are aware with government, you have national, district,
yes,
provincial, local. So it's sort of, you can call me national, I guess. That's how it works, right? So then we have raw material suppliers. These are the guys that produce plastic from scratch. Mostly we work in Mpumalanga to produce that. Then you have Safripal and Sasol. They are not the only producers. The other guys that side, they do produce, but they're only focusing on importing and exporting. They're working in an international level. These are our local guys. There are some opportunities internationally, but their main job is to ensure that the South African plastic system works well to assist us. And then one of our recyclers is Taffy that we work well with, but there's a lot of recyclers, just that these guys are more involved with sustainability activities. The other guys, they're just companies, they produce, they pay us the job that we need to do. These guys are more involved. They've been liking to be more involved. I don't know if you've seen a yellow plastic, but you see it. That's one of the products that they help us to use for cleanup campaigns. Okay, internationally, we also have various projects that we do global level. Right now, we are busy with the Plastic Pact, where countries are coming in together to say, can we have a global legislation where we can make it easy? Because the problem is plastic moves, right? Most of the plastic that you see in your beach is from the inland area. So you might be seeing a bottle in a river only to find out it's from Limpopo, right? So now, what does that mean? It means if us as South Africa say, for example, let's just say we have some magic material that will help us to do everything we're doing with plastic, and we decide plastic is a problem, we are banning it all. The problem is the plastic from Zimbabwe will come with the ocean, it will still get to us. So that means we need to come together at a continental level and global level, so that when we say straws are a problem, they disappear in the continent, right? So that's why we had to play our part also internationally. All right, so I'm gonna get to what I work with every day, plastic. So guys, you know where sugar comes from, right? Sugar cane. So plastics, we can get from some plants biologically, but here in South Africa, we get them from coal. because we have that in abundance. Doesn't necessarily mean we don't have implants, but we have that in abundance. But before we get to the critics of or the T's and I's of plastic, how did it come about? Right? Why do we have plastic? Why does it exist? So what was happening was about maybe now I think I can safely say 130 years ago, we used a material called ivory a lot that we're getting from your elephant tracks, some chimpanzees' teeth, rhinos' horns. There's a material there we call ivory that we're using for all these products here. Cutlery, jewelry, everything, right? But what made it to a point where we get to use plastic was, we also, you see those billboards, we also use that material for the billboards. Now, if you look at the speed that the marketing industry works with, we need those billboards a lot. You see them, you haven't paid attention, but you don't pass 5 kilometers without seeing something, right? So that means we had to kill a lot of these animals to be able to produce those billboards, right? So then your biodiversity guys at a global level in the municipalities in the country said, we can't continue like this, we have to find something else, right? So back then in US, the president said, look, I have $10,000 US. It was a lot. I mean, it's still a lot to us, but it was even more than, right? I have $10,000 US. You bring a solution to this issue, we start the solution, then you'll get more funding to, and then spread it out across the country. Then you know what it is. People come in, some are actually worried and want to bring a solution, some are just excited because there's money that I can possibly get, so let me try my best on all that, right? So, but now the challenge was, each and every one of these people, they gave a solution that solves part of our problem, right? Someone will bring a solution where, okay, now we don't have to use, just giving you an example, now we don't have to use the ivory for jewelry. We figured out something. Someone will say, okay, we don't have to use this, but it was just bits and pieces that cannot cover our life the way the ivory was doing. So then Leo thought, wait, if I take your idea, wouldn't I come with one idea that will solve everything? So that's simply how we came to plastic, as a solution to a problem that we had, right? It wasn't like a lab mistake that was magic. It was a problem, we had a problem, then we came to that solution. So since then, plastic has grown very much. That was literally the first thing that produced plastic that you see. That's grown, we use it everywhere. There's a lot of things that you are not aware that are plastic, but we'll get to that. Okay, so bring it back home. There by Mpumalanga, Saso produces the plastic. However, it's important for you to know that there is no mine that is digging coal to produce plastic. The characteristics, the chemical characteristics that we have in plastic, we realized on one of the waste products. When they burn coal and they produce petroleum products. So when the diesel, the petrol, the whatevers are coming out, there's a waste product that was supposed to be going out that we then took and realized this is the same thing that we're working with, and then we continue from it to create plastic. So in Mpumalanga, that is where your plastic comes from to get to, right? So how does it happen? In your plant, we have ethylene and propylene. I know you guys are teachers, but at some point you touch chemistry, right? So we have ethylene and propylene gas. You see that big tank, you see the smoke. Sometimes it looks like it's steam, it's not really smoke. Yeah. So within the tank, there's a lot of work happening. There's tanks within that tank to separate, depending on the weight, all the chemical properties of the material until we get our waste, they get whatever they need and all that, right? So in there, then we take this ethylene and propylene gas and we polymerize it, basically meaning we kind of compress it. What are we doing by doing that? So I need to ask H2O. That molecule, let's just say this is H2O, right? This is H2O. Polymerization, we just alonging the chain. And when you start alonging the chain, your human eye starts seeing something from that chemical state. Because they start as chemicals, what we're trying to do is remove them from that chemical state so that they are a solid that we use as plastic. So through the process of polymerization, that's how we make the plastic, right? I'm summarizing now, it's a very technical, long process, but this is a very, very short summary, right? However, on our website, I will leave details with our host. there is a soft copy there. I couldn't bring the books. There's a soft copy that will now give you a history of each and every plastic and what are we using them for. So as we produce it, it comes out as powder. But when we transport it, we transport it as pellets like this. This is the raw material from Pumalang of plastic, right? So these pellets, we then take them to any industry because everyone uses plastic.
Yeah.
Right? Beauty industry, agriculture, health, what? Entertainment. I don't know what, who doesn't. Everyone uses plastic. So they go everywhere. That's how we push. So now you're going to see the importance of recycling to a point where how do we get to this point without having to go through all this process? Because remember, because this is done in a mine, yes, the material was a waste, but because we've turned it into a product, then we needed a whole system to manage it. The trucks must go and collect this, was do what. All that process is very costly. Forget load shedding. Even when electricity was fine, it's a very costly process to a point where it affects you. Sometimes it's raining, right? And you see the farmers on TV say, oh, things are fine, we're good. But you go to the shop, Albany is expensive. If you do research, you realize that Albany increased the price because the packaging, the plastic, is now more expensive for him. And you better believe he's not gonna take the cost. Right? So it does affect you daily on the pocket if we don't do recycling because we have to start here all over again. Right? So if we were a country that is, by the way, globally we're actually performing very well. But if we were perfect, then a lot of people wouldn't see, you wouldn't have pain where you go home and you see someone that is struggling. Because things will be more affordable for each and every one of us. Right? Okay, we're continuing. So today I'm going to focus on packaging plastic. Not the chair that you're sitting on, not your glasses, ladies, not your hair, but only this hoopoo, the bread one, wrap, takeaway, those kind of plastics. So basically these ones. Why am I focusing on this? Because when you complain that it's dirty, you don't see dashboards of cars everywhere, right? These are the plastics that you see everywhere. So then our pressure is with the packaging plastics. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Just to highlight, you will see these triangles, they are different. This one, you'll see in every material that is recyclable. It just says that material is recyclable, meaning you can find it on a box, on a paper, on whatever glass. This is a polymer code, right? Remember I said when we're producing the plastic, we were polymerizing to produce a polymer, which is just a chemical name, meaning plastic. So that's a polymer code. It's a code for a plastic. So the code gives us information, whether depending on how you're using it. The code can say a different thing to a chemist in the lab. The code will say a different thing to a company that's supplying big plastics to clients because they need to know what's going on. Because if a client says, I want a certain plastic like this, I'm going to contain a certain thing. What is going to be contained determines how the plastic should be. You can't take your MRC and think, okay, I found out how to make Coke. So I'm gonna make my own drink, I'm gonna introduce my own Kingsley. But I see that the 2 liters are expensive, but the MRC bottles are cheaper. So you know what? I'll bring a vibe, something they don't expect. I'll take the MRC bottles, put my Coke in there, and then you can't work. The acidity of MRC and Coke is not the same. The thickness is not the same. How we want it to survive in a fridge, in a hot place, in a damp place, in a truck, until it gets to you, it's not the same. So we have to consider it. So these are our products. The polymer code will always tell you what plastic it is. We have about 7 types of packaging plastics. Angela is going to tell you about number 1 and recycling. So I'm not going to touch on that. I need to give you the information on plastic so that by the time we get there, you understand why we need to turn back, right? So these are the examples. PET, plastic number 1, PETCO. They deal with plastic number 1. So that PET, the first letters, that's where their name is coming from, right? And then we have PET, most of the times, your water, cold drink. We have a lot of other products, but these are the common ones. And then you're gonna have HD, recyclers will call that, but the full name is HDPE. high density polyethylene, right? That's the scientific name. So your shampoo bottles, the Amasi bottle, those kind of thick ones, your spray, what Tresemme or something, your hair. But Tresemme also has other plastics within the same product. You can have a line of your hair from your, I don't know, you make it soft, you make it how you shape it. And all the bottles look the same, they're all black, but you might find out that it's actually different plastics because that chemical that you use determines how thick, how whatever the plastic must be, right? So these are just examples of the common ones. I'm saying that to you, don't cram it to say all drinks and water is plastic number 1, because we can also make 5 out of this. We can shape each plastic to look and feel like anything, right? As we go on with plastic number 3, PVC. Most of us, you spend your high school years stepping on it on the floor. Even now, PVC is mostly on our shoes, but it's the same plastic we use to cover our electric cords. It's the same plastic in the agriculture sector they use for all those pipes to water your greenhouses and all that. Right? That's PVC, very important plastic to us. Then we have LDPE, plastic number 4, low density polyethylene. The difference between number 4 and 2 is that with number 4, it's all those soft plastics. Your wrap, takeaway, silati kind of packaging, bubble, what's that popping one? All those kind of soft plastics, that will be your low density polyethylene. The high density are the heavier ones, your shampoos and all those. As we continue with polypropylene, a plastic that is very common in the entertainment industry. Mustache, they have Italy polyprop, right? Dealer with number 5. This is very simple. So when you deal with recycling, simple technology, big difference, right? That's how we work. The information I'm giving you right now, it's very simple, but if you got in the business and you had a client that needed polypropylene, then you know that I need to be in every part with my truck. When they leave, I take the money. Right? That's how it works. So you need to be thinking of that. And then we have polystyrene, the takeaways, plastic number 6, good plastic. We have a good market for it, we have a lot of uses for it, but people even that collect don't take it because it's very light. Remember at the scrapyard, the important thing is your weight, right, and the quality. So plastic number 6 suffers because of that nature. However, if you're in business and you have a source where you know that I can get a lot of this, we can contact us. We'll link you with a company that will come and buy from you straight, and you'll make more money because you don't have to sell to a buyback center or what people call scrapyard, because that guy is also a collector. He's collecting from all of you to make one big thing to go sell to the recycler, right? So that's how it works. And then number 7, you can see there's no name, it just says other, right? It's not because we don't know what plastics are there, no. It's because in plastic number 7, the products that we have there, they use more than one plastic, right? You have your Starlight powder soap for our clothes. Inside it's white. Outside, Starlight did their thing so that they can chow your money, right? So inside there, we are trying to ensure that that soap must not react with any high temperature, whatever, because this, for it to get to ShopRite, it goes through a lot. So that, remember, soap is a chemical. We don't want it reacting in any way. It's gonna give us a problem. So we have a certain type of plastic in there to contain it, but then we need a little bit of lining of another plastic so that we can have decoration outside. So if we were to classify it, you're gonna have a problem. That's why we say other. It does not mean that they are not recyclable. One of the products that you can use for them, have you seen your park benches, but plastic ones?
The green ones.
Yes. That's one of the things we can do with them. There's a lot of, but that's a common one. So these are our plastics, 7 types of them. The polymer code is one way you can identify which what plastic number is this, but we have other ways that we can use to try and understand what are we doing. Look, I left my okay, thank you. I left my man, I had a bit of competition. I left them in the counter, that green plastic. Yeah, it is some other things. I don't think I can trigger anything. I wanted to add some bedding so that you guys understand, right? But anyway, let me continue. So remember, plastic is a material. So that means it is gonna react differently in different natural conditions, because it's a chemical that we made up. It comes from a natural resource, but we made it up, right? So it's gonna react differently with different natural conditions. So if I say to you, if you compare that Valpre bottle with the Clover one, when you put it in water, what do you think will sink?
The water. Huh?
She saw it. So a lot of people would think this should sink because when I hold it, it's heavier than this. Right? When you have a 2-liter bottle, empty one, and this one is heavy. So you expect gravity, Newton to do his thing, and then this thing must go down. But because it's a chemical, this one will actually float, that one will sink. Right? Each and every one of these 7 types of plastic, they react different to that water. We can also continue, let's say you didn't have water, we can use fire. I like using these examples because this is plastic number 6, and people think when I say take away, when I say plastic number 6 take away, you're expecting every plastic number 6 to be white or sort of thick in a way. You can have it transparent like that. When you are buying your crusher, McD, McFizz, that's polystyrene. That's the same plastic, that's a takeaway. And that's what I'm saying to you, we can use plastic to look like anything. So even with fire, it reacts different. Just a summary of all of them. If you compare PET, let's say, and PP, right? So you can see this will float, that will sink. But sometimes you don't have water, you can use fire. You realize that that one has a sweet smell, like you're burning sugar. When you come here, it will smell like you are burning candle or paraffin. Right? They are smelling like those things because they do have those things. Because it depends on what did you put inside for it to do. Right? So this is it. Scratch test you can also do. Why are these important? When you're not a big company, because we have guys that have grown now, they are busy, you can't even get hold of them. Right? When you're a big company, a truck can come in. Let's say they have you seen when you are by Edgar's, you're buying a formal shirt. The plastic they give you in, it has no label. There is no triangle, there is no, it's just clear. So if a client comes to you, it's a truck full, this is mine. The material is clean. Where do you put this? Who are you gonna sell it to? You need these simple, someone who would say like grade 1 skills, to just quickly give me a piece. When you test, man, guys, you don't put the whole bottle, obvious, it's gonna float, it's empty. Cut a piece just to check there. So you just cut a piece from that sample, you burn it, okay, it's sugar, so it might be this one. Let me just confirm with water it flows, okay, sharp, put it this side. Because that industry is hectic, we're moving quick. So you need these skills, you need to know your business. Okay, we continue. So all these plastics, so now you know that we have 7 types of packaging plastics, how we can identify them besides using the polymer code, right? So we've moved on from there. So now, how do we produce products in general, plastic products? Just gonna give you a different, just before I go there, I think just to summarize, for those who didn't understand, just quickly. Where's the sound? Wait. Where's the oh, I can't see. Yeah. Oh, because let's try. Yeah. Well, just put because I can put the mic on the light. I can't see.
A molecule.
Sure. We are figuring this thing. Okay, guys. I know we are educators. You probably are like, and then now, but just to.
The raw material used in the process is ethylene, which is the monomer in this case. While monomer means one part, polymer means many parts. So polyethylene basically means many ethylene parts. But how do we get from one part to many parts? It actually takes 3 steps. The first step in the polymerization process is the initiation. When heated, the organic peroxide breaks apart in 2 radicals. These radicals start the reaction with ethylene. One free radical opens the double bond of an ethylene molecule and forms a new radical. Then this new radical opens another ethylene monomer, and this process continues, making the actual polymer. This second step is called the propagation. Now there's only one step to go to turn a monomer into a polymer, the termination. The polymerization reaction stops once the last radical on another chain with a free radical. Then they combine and the polyethylene is finished.
Okay. In the intro, oh, it was done. Okay, so that's polymer. I just wanted you to be able to imagine it molecularly. We're just linking the thing. It's basically like you turning water to ice. That's literally what you do. When they link, the water molecules freezes. You see the temperature is down kinetics. We don't have to go through it. So plastic manufacturing processes. So what we do, we use a process called molding. Boom, right? Because we can turn the plastic into any shape. So we have about 4 of them, depending on the product that we want to use. Should I skip this one? Okay. So Anile will deal with blow molding because that's how it works. So there's injection molding. So this is the machine, right? Inside, it looks like this, but this is how it is. Remember, we are producing that plastic. We start with the pellets. The pellets are coming in here. My machine is pushing them towards that direction. Along the way, I have heat panels, so it starts melting. So now at this level, it's very liquid, like water. So because it's like that, if you imagine an injection, because it looks like injection, we determine how it must come out here. So there's a part here we call a die. That's the design where you decide how must the plastic come out that side. So if you're a business and you're producing rulers, it will be different from if you're producing parts of the chair, the top part, right? It just depends on what you're doing. So your molds, these parts need to be in the shape of that product you do. We push in the plastic in there, we dry it out, it's out. Now it's a vascular of some sort.
Can I ask you a question? I'm so sorry. The pellets, they come in the form that you want. It must be P, whatever. Like it comes in the
different types of plastics.
Okay,
yeah. So if we take this bottle of make pellets, there will be PET bottles. So the question is, what was the original material? But here, with the original, it depends on the chemicals. Yeah. So along the process, if you want to create other products, we start with propylene and ethylene, and then we add other things depending on what does the client want. But usually it's easier to just make a polymer, then they will deal with it. Yeah, because in their companies, their machines have things that they can change with. So this is basically how it works. That's injection molding. So to create bigger products, like your JoJo tank, which is just a water tank. It's JoJo because JoJo is alone. We need to play in the space, guys. That thing is just a water tank. It's the same thing as you saying Upper Fresh is Colgate. It's because Colgate spend a lot of time alone. So there's still a lot of opportunity. You know water is a problem. Why Singana you can mini water tank? Right? Okay, so this is how it works. To produce these water tanks. We can use blow molding, but it's gonna need you'll understand blow molding later. Nah, you'll understand later. So you need a lot of energy to blow to create the bottle, right? But if you compare the bottle with a JoJo tank, it's gonna be bigger. And you're gonna need a lot of electricity to blow in there. So the cost of your company will be a problem. So we thought, what is the simplest technology that we all know? When you're frying your eggs, you put your oil center of the pan. To cover the whole pan, you swirl, right? Or rotate. I mean, unless half of the bottle is in there, your eggs are swimming. I'm not judging, I'm just saying, if they're on the center, you swirl, right? We're doing exactly that. But at this point, what happens is the machine is like this. Each one of my hands produces 2 JoJo tanks in this instance here, right? So what happens is we've melted our pellets, they're in there. the machine is spinning. So that means the sides of the containers are starting to get plastic. But as I'm spinning like this, these arms are doing this, or completely spinning around, depending on the technology that you have. Then the plastics all around, we take it out, we move on, right? That's how we produce them. And then lastly, there's extrusion. So this is how the machine looks in picture. A person would be something like maybe here, depending on the size. This is a very big machine, as you'd expect with the size of the JoJo tanks. So extrusion looks like injection molding. It's almost the same thing. The only difference is here at the end. With extrusion is when you are producing continuous products. In other words, with injection molding, I can be a company that makes rulers for kids, but with extrusion, I can be a company that makes pipes. Because then my client will say, I want 100 meters of this pipe. So if I was having an injection molding, then it means I'll be producing 1 meter, and then I have to still connect. So with extrusion, the technology allows you to have a longer product that comes out. For example, here, this is a safe that we use to cover houses, but this also, it looks exactly the same, like how a company that produces your refuse bags would look like. Because you know, you don't buy them one, it's a roll. So this is how we produce it. It comes out like that, and then comes into a roll, sells it to you, right? So that's how we produce these. I had a video, but I'm also out of time. So these are just the activities that we do, river catchment projects, when we're trying to now push sustainability. Those will be our activities there. Litter booms, try and trap the waste in our river streams, avoid it from going to the ocean. This awareness campaigns, what you see here is an actual shark that we killed with our bottle. So what we did here, we went DSW. Steve from Upper Amazing dissected, goes to the stomach, your bottle is there. The shark was like, I'm fine. I ate yesterday. I still feel full, but there's no nutrients. Remember, comes from natural, but we made it up. So there's no nutrients there, the shark dies, right? So when people see this, and we do this at the beach, you know, you start, people, they take their cold drinks, they go like, we don't say don't drink, just don't let it. Right? Because that's the problem. So that's just pictures, cleanup campaigns. This is the back I was telling you that Taffy assists us with. That will be my manager this side, our marketing head that side. Recycling workshops, we do recycling workshops. Our aim is to educate, but also we have a very serious focus on SMME support, because if we are going to push recycling, we need to build the value on the material. If the material has value, it's just going to disappear. There are some things you used to see on the floor. Because we gain value, you throw it, our guys are always there. Right? On your beam. Long time ago, right? We want to change that, because the work that they're doing is very important. Without them, you wouldn't walk outside. Because if you think the municipality trucks are handling your waste, they are not even managing. So those guys are super important, right? So that's why we want to support them. So we train to try and get to grow their businesses. Other things, your education, that's really been our national mascot launched by the president in East London 20, I think. Schools awareness, we do that so that kids understand what's going on, and that will be my branding, fit for purpose, just to remind you that you are on your holiday, you need plastic. You are at home, you need plastic. Your doctors need plastic, everything needs plastic. So we need to just work on ensuring that everyone can enjoy it. Just to show you that the good thing is 2020, COVID came in, Salada, we didn't have a choice, but look how we're already recovering, and this is not even this year, right? So it tells you the opportunities there, because especially you're already producing waste. Your carbon dioxide is already waste. As a human being, your existence literally equals waste. So because this is waste, it means there will always be money. Because I don't know if you realize, if they say this is 14 rand, part of that 14 rand is this bottle. So if you throw it, you are literally throwing money on the floor. Literally. Right? So that's why guys, they take it, they recycle it, they charge. That's your money. Okay, so we had a 4.7% increase since from COVID, so it's a good recovery. That translated to 2.1 billion that we paid the collectors. The money that came out from our industry, to pay the collectors for collecting was that much in our latest stats, and this equated to over 52,000 income opportunities. When I say income opportunities, because I know some people use recycling for money for the kids for school and airtime. Some people actually survive with it, some are big companies, so just different income opportunities. Do I have something? Oh, just one. Just a hint. We've been talking about this recycling. I haven't got into it, but I've been mentioning. What do you think it is? Massive recycling. What do you think? I know you are thinking something, so just say it. I know your mind is working, huh? What do you think it is? Yes.
Isn't it basically taking something with a purpose and reusing it for maybe another purpose or?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Zandleni.
Oh. Yay!
So the bag that you have there, part of it used to be bottles. Yeah. So basically, recycling is this. The important part is this here. The guys that's just moving with the bottles and material, they are just collecting. When we start changing the material, that's when we start recycling. Because then it can become something else or the same thing used twice. Just to go, this will be my last slide. So, what recycling are we doing? This one is called mechanical recycling. Because the plastic remains plastic, right? So, with polypropylene, we can make your hairpiece. Guys, I know Peruvian, Brazilian. I promise you, there's no one in the world, there are no human beings queuing, getting hair cut, and being sold. That human rights, that's international crime. Your hair has always been plastic. Always, right? So, if your hair was made from PET, it's your hair, but it's still PET. So that's mechanical recycling. Because it's still, it's still the same thing, right? So now with energy, we can do what we call incineration, which is to burn. When you burn a tire, can you feel that heat? Sometimes it actually pushes you. If you've been next to an explosion, you can feel the energy pushing you. So when you trap that energy, we're able to produce electricity, right? So it was plastic, but now it can be electricity. Now, lastly, remember I said we take plastic from the coal. The same coal that made the petrol and the diesel and the Vaseline, because it does say petroleum jelly. So because this plastic comes from in relation to those products, it means we can take the plastic, make it back to the oil, right? With chemical recycling. So we can take the plastic and make it a Vaseline because they come from the same material. The process is like this, but I'm not gonna go through it because I deal with it. These are just examples of recyclables. I wanted to give you an example. PVC, medical waste, that's another sector we are not touching. There's medical waste there. It's always food, clinic, hospital, you know that. So your drips, don't worry, this was water, not don't run away from it. So this is PVC. I told you the shoes are PVC. This shoe comes from this. We donate this to kids that don't have so that we look the same. We don't want anyone feeling left out. This pair doesn't need polish as much as your toughies, and it's probably 50% cheaper than your toughies. But when they are standing here, the toughies look bad compared to it.
Yeah.
Right? Technology. The polystyrene I was telling you about. Your photo frame. Your photo frames. Polystyrene, take away. I'll give it to you. It's heavy, it looks like wood, it feels like everything. If you were buying photo frames thinking it's wood, it's very expensive to buy wood photo frame. The finishing, the maintenance, the what. So you must know, since we dust I want Marisa said right, because it's plastic. It's not wood, right? You can also make bricks. Doesn't break. I had to do that so that you know it's a brick. Right? And you can see the I only did this so that you can see it, but when it's a finished product, it looks like a normal brick. It's heavy as it can build. We've built houses. Right? That's recycling, guys. I had want to show you, but I'm afraid time is not on my side. So I'll hand over. Thank you. You might have a question. Let's wait for Andy and then we'll cover all questions.
It's gonna be hours.
Okay, guys. With Cabello taking all the time we had, I'll just take 10 minutes. I'll focus more on PETCO, not plastic recycling, because he has covered the most. Just to start up and break the ice, we all know what recycling is now, which is converting the used material to something new. Can you tell me the relevance and importance of recycling in South Africa? Why is it important? It's kind of obvious.
And it's more than one reason.
To take care of the environment.
Yes, we're cleaning up our environment, ensuring that our materials, plastic, cardboard doesn't end up in the river.
You know why you don't get it back? You don't have hands for others.
Another?
To ensure the marine life is always
Thank you.
Okay, yes, taking care of our marine life. One more?
One
Okay, next one. Yes, definitely. What is that? Yeah. Okay. The most important one as well is to create job opportunities. As we are here as PETCO and PlasticSA, what we're doing is creating job opportunities, growing SMMEs so that they can be able to employ more people within the communities. Because you know, the recycling is the chain. We have that thing called recycling value chain, which means that person as a waste picker is way important more than us, the recyclers, because we won't get that material to convert without that person taking it from the ground. So we empower the whole value chain, make sure that we create employment. Okay, getting straight to it, I'll just introduce PETCO. PETCO is a non-profit organization, producer responsibility organization, as Kabelo said. We are responsible for those companies who produce this material, PET plastic. Usually, we see it on our beverage bottles, water, juice, and also we do have the ones that comes out as what we call a thermoform. Those fruits containers, grapes, they are also PET. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't recycle that. Our technology doesn't allow us to, but we have our principals doing the research to make sure that we get solutions on how we can do it. And also, through our success as PETCO in ensuring that PET doesn't end up in the environment, we have now secured another material into our responsibility, which is liquid bottle packaging. It's called LLPP, simply because it's our beverage cardboard. This material has 3 types of materials in it. There's aluminum on the inside, you can see, it's shiny. There's plastic on the outside, which is why it's glossy, and there is cardboard within those 2 linking them. So we're also dealing with a recycler who turns that into a new product now. These are our members, so these are the producers we are representing when we go out to the public. Coca-Cola is one of our biggest sponsors, paying most of our salaries, including him. Then we have Twiza, where we normally work with everybody who uses this bottle to fill it up with the material, or Safripol as the producer, Kabelo said, from coal to plastic. Then we have Pick and Pay and Woolies, who are the ones selling those products now to the people. So they're also ensuring that the products come back into the value chain. That's the relevance or importance of recycling in South Africa. First one, we divert waste from going into the landfill. We're creating something new, which means we expanding the lifespan of our landfills. It's so expensive to create a landfill site. So to make sure that it doesn't get full easily, we make sure that we divert waste from going in there. We're also creating jobs, we're reducing pollution, as the colleagues said. We're saving our natural resources, mainly the coal that was used to create the plastic. So that's PET, polyethylene terephthalate. You see with that notation number 1 within the triangle. Those are the products that comes out. That's the thermoform I was speaking of. Yeah. That one used for our sandwiches and fruits.
So can I ask a question? Why can't they change that and make it out of something else then?
Something recyclable.
Yeah.
Exactly the same reason why Kamala said, we need to preserve the products inside. So we created that package to make sure that your straws doesn't get rotten easily, even if they are, they're in whatever condition. So that's why they use that one. But now it's PET, but it's mixed with other chemicals as well, which is why at the moment we can't recycle it. But the rest, they are recyclable. Those are the dominant one in the industry. We will never go wrong. I know it's predominantly Coke, but we do have some. We have 6 recyclers we're working with in South Africa to make sure that we're turning that PET into a new product. We have Extra Pets in Gauteng, we have Piranfa in Gauteng, we have K-Tech in Western Cape, we have ProPet in Western Cape, we have Senlida, our very own pride in KZN. Then we have AfriPet. You can see that according to the province they are on, it's our economic hubs, because that's where the most activities take place. And you can see that most of our support and PlasticSA support is centered around the northern part of South Africa. That's because Gauteng is near them. They are collecting more because market is near them. But we try to now decentralize that and empower the whole country to make sure that they come into recycling. So end-use products created from PET, we can take the same bottle and create a new bottle. We can do that more than 20 times. That's the perfect thing about plastic. You can turn it into another product without losing quality for a long period of time. Also, we do fiber. We turn PET into fiber. This is fiber, colleagues. This is not cotton. So most of the clothing we're wearing was made out of this. So we took your bottle that we threw in the trash, thinking that it's worthless. Then we took it, we made fiber. It's not cotton, it's fiber. So that's what we use to create the bags you guys are carrying. And that big bag of mine there, which is way too beautiful.
It is very nice.
This was made out of 2-liter bottles, so it's made out of fiber as well. We also create our pillows, our cabinets, our roof insulations to make sure that the roof don't leak. And those bags we get from the shops, because they said move away from those plastics, FD and HT, but still using plastic. We also create the bags, the jeans we're wearing the most. Guys knows when you go to sports scene or Makam, it's written made from recyclable material, which is that fiber you can buy. So our MVP, which is the liquid board packaging, predominantly it carries our long life milk, juice, and I won't say ultra, but let me say custard. Because we do have plastic also producing that. Yeah. So we know that there's mass coming out of this product as well. But at the moment, we don't recycle that because why? Amasi is already like close to being rotten. I don't eat it, but I don't want to discourage you guys. So if people may collect this within a week on the site, it will be smelly, causing So we only collect this. We don't collect the ones for Amasi. We have Gayatri, who turns this now into new products like from pulp we make the paper cores. You know those cardboards inside our tissue, toilet papers, that hard cardboard. So it's made out of those materials as well. We also make new cardboards because as I told you guys, there's paper within that product. So we take the same paper, we make cardboards, we make food cartons or boxes, we make tissue. Just to take you guys to paper, when we recycle paper, we don't recycle tissue because of the intended use of it. So we can't bring it back. So we also create office paper from that material. Then we create molded fiber for our fragile product. Also, from the same product, which is liquid board packaging, we take out polyarc. Polyarc just simply means the poly is plastic, as Camilo said. Poly means plastic. Ar means aluminium, because there's that aluminium inside. We take it, we mix it with plastic, then we create these products, which are profiles. You see that hard plastic that holds your flip flies to make sure that it's fine. So it's created out of polyol. Pallets, most of the industry now is moving from wood pallets because we know they break easy. So we're using this hard plastic now to create pallets. And plastic solution. Then the crates, our beverage crates, our fruit crates, and stuff. Okay, we also have the full board granules. When we're separating these three materials, sometimes it happens that paper and aluminium is not separated thoroughly. So we'll have them mixed as a material, then we produce our tiles for roof. Yeah, now guys, you see that we're producing a lot of things, and also panels. Also, our ceiling boards are produced from those panels, and those when you're having like a hall, then you want to divide it in the middle. We use those panels to divide it. So from a municipal engagement, as we speak with Umgeni, that's when we're trying to introduce ourselves as the industry to say we are here to help the collectors, because we know the amount of work they put in the landfill site, the conditions they're working under. So we approach the municipalities all over South Africa. We tell them about our services. We need to help these people. So we give out things like PPEs, in case you know of the ladies working maybe from where you're coming from, they need PPEs, because we know when they're on those bins separating their bowels, they're even injection, infants. Yeah. So we make sure that we engage with the municipalities to find out about their services and where we can help as the industry. So what we want to form out of those engagements is the public-private partnership, at which then can be even formed with the university. So to say we assist and establish separation at source projects, for example, in a dome somewhere, we know there's a lot of waste coming from the students, then we can make separation at source. Why? Because we want to find the material clean. If we're collecting this material and it's dirty, it was maybe contaminated with blood or medical waste, we cannot turn it now into another bottle, because this will be used for consumption. So if it's contaminated, now we are forced to use it for like fiber and other materials. So separation at source helps us to find the material very clean that can be used to produce the packaging for our food. So we also work with the municipalities to set up the MRF. What's an MRF? A material recovery facility. That's where now our waste pickers have a site where they work out of the landfill, out of the streets, because you know they get hit by the cars on the streets. So they have a site where they work. The municipal truck brings in the waste, they separate what's recyclable, they take what's not back to the landfill. So that's an MRF. We also develop large buyback centers through our support. Then we help with IWMPs. If you guys know what's an IWMP, it's that plan of each municipality to make sure that how they're taking care of waste within their 5-year lifespan. So we also work with organizations like Aero, Salpa, our government, then the whole of the packaging industry. Because we are here, guys, we're not competitors. We are working to better the lives of our people and also saving our environment. So we get together to make sure that we make waste picker support projects or programs. We also have this system, which is centered in all of our buyback centers, because as there's a law called EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility Scheme, which says that we as the industry must pay the people who are collecting waste in the streets to make sure that we give them a service fee because they are doing our work. Coca-Cola paid PETCO to make sure that the bottle is not on the streets, but now there are people doing it on our behalf, so we must be the ones paying those people. So we have this system to make sure that we are able to pay the people. How does the system work? If a person comes to a buyback center, a scrapyard where they're selling their PET bottles, they wait, they get their money at that point, and then as PETCO, we get the figures of how much a person sold a month from this system, which is BenQ, and then we are able to pay that person a month later. That means our waste pickers will now be paid 2 times, by the industry and by the person they are selling to at that point. We do trainings. As Kabelo said, we're investing a lot in capacity building because we know how people must know how to separate material, how to make a lot of money out of each material. Also, we have an accredited training, which is now we're saying you've been a waste picker, but now you want to grow to the next level and own your own recycling initiative or collection business. So we offer this 3-day accredited training where we teach them about financial management, administration, record keeping, marketing, and legal aspects to make sure that when they get into business, they know how to manage the business and expect the outcome. These are the recycling workshops and the accredited trainings we've conducted in South Africa from 2012 to 2021. Yeah, 2022 is not included at the moment because we're still under audit by our principals and the DFFE. But yeah, we've worked a lot. You can see most of the activities are up there because that's when that's where the economic hub of recycling is taking place at the moment. We also provide equipment and infrastructure for our small buyback centers to make sure that we grow them into bigger businesses. So we support everybody who's within the recycling value chain. We support schools as well with those separation at source projects. We give out things like bulk bags. If you've seen that big bag being carried by Labandes Families and Amapara in the street, yet they are making a huge difference. So those are the bulk bags. We give out those. We give out trolleys so that they can be able to push on the streets. We give out scales for them to weigh how much they made before they go selling so that they don't get robbed. And we give out cages for storage of materials. We give out containers. Some use containers as offices. Then we give out balers. A baler is that big compressing machine that makes sure that, because if you're selling PET loose like this, you don't make a lot of money because it's like you're transporting air. So it's best if you bale it together and you make that big bale like a square. That's when now you have many kgs in one trip to Gauteng if you're selling in Gauteng. Those are the pictures. This is the project we supported Mlazi. It's PETCO Environment Ambassadors. It was I included it on my presentation because it's a group of graduates who are from like UKZN, DUT, and Mangosuthu, who got together, seeing the conditions within Umlazi of our illegal dams and unmanaged waste. So they created that group to say they are the environment ambassadors. They approached PETCO and we helped them to start from scratch. That was their site. It was built. They were given a container. They were given scales. A shelter was built for them. Now the site is no longer like this. They've grown. To an extent that they've built their own offices, they've employed more people, and they were selling 1.5 tons then, at which I'm not sure we know what's a ton, but a ton is when, you know, when a person goes to sell a material, you will say you sold 300 kgs. Yeah. Once your kgs get to 1,000, that's a ton. So they were selling 1.5 ton, now they are selling about 10 tons a month. So let's say PET, this month is selling at 4 rands a kilo. So multiply that 4 rand by that 10,000. That's how much they're making now. At which they're still growing. Yeah, that's the money that's within recycling, and they're still growing. These are the projects we've supported across South Africa. Still much in Gauteng. So as a KZN representative, I think we can do best for our province to make sure that we do more recycling as well. Yeah, that's all from me. I had to go a bit fast. I didn't cover blow molding. You want me to go there?
Yeah, guys, just I know that it's late, but just to show you how to get to the t-shirt from the bottle or any other product.
Is anybody catching a taxi? No. We all good. It's not. We're not off smart, man.
Is it half past
It's
or?
10 past, man.
Almost gonna pass.
This is a bottle made from a plastic called PET, polyethylene terephthalate, an incredibly sophisticated material that has many uses after you've used it as a bottle. It's far too valuable to be thrown in a bin. Recycling it means it can be effectively turned into many new products, dramatically reducing waste. This meticulous process starts with collection. Every year, billions of bottles are collected, compressed into huge bales, and transported to recycling plants. These bales are fed in here. They're broken apart, and then any metal waste is removed. Other types of plastic are removed before the remaining PET is color sorted by hand. Each color is separated into its color stream and then crushed into small flakes. The flakes still contain ground up lids, rims and labels. They're all separated from the PET in the washing process. Washing also removes contaminants like glue, leaving behind clean, pure PET flakes. The flakes are dried, extruded and cooled, and chopped into short pieces. What remains are gel-like pellets. These are now ready to be made into fiber to be used in the production of new products. 1,000 kilogram bags are filled with the pellets, making it easy and efficient to transport to many manufacturers. One kind of manufacturer is a polyester fiber producing factory. Here, the pellets are poured into this day hopper, dropped down into a heater that dries them out completely, and extruded by forcing them into tiny spinnerets. Each spinneret pushes out up to 1,500 individual filaments, which are then cooled and combined into a single rope called a tow, made up of 24,000 individual polyester fibers. 32 of these tows are then lubricated in preparation for a heating and stretching process that makes them 10 times longer. Ultimately, to make the polyester feel more organic, the fiber is crimped with this machine, resulting in a fluffy fiber with a luxurious texture. The crimped fibers are cut into the various lengths that the industry needs. They're compressed into 300 kilogram bales to make it easy to transport to a long value chain of multiple producers. At a polyester processing factory, the bales are broken up and the fibers separated. When it's ready to be processed, it looks like this. It gets combed into puffy, cloud-like fibers. This cloud of fibers is sewn into a single sheet of thousands of polyester threads. The result is a roll of recycled PET material ready for use in manufacture. It can be dyed in any color and used in the production of many new products like shopping bags, fleece clothing, combined with other polyester into stuffing for sleeping bags, duvets and pillows, used as roof insulation and geotextiles for uses like lining the Gautrain tunnels, and produce car parts, seat belts and carpets for the automotive industry. After rigorous testing that ensures the quality of the recycled PET pellets is 100% safe, they're also turned back into bottles. The process starts with this sophisticated machine. It dries, then melts, and then turns the pellets into what the industry calls preforms. Injection molding forms the molten recycled PET into the desired shape. Robotics cool and pace the production so each preform comes out perfectly. They're small, easy to transport, and ready to be made into new bottles. To make the actual bottles, we need this machine. Inside, it heats the preforms and then blows them into the correct size. The bottles are cooled and packaged, ready for distribution. This closes the loop. It's true bottle-to-bottle recycling. No wastage, nothing sent to landfill, no unnecessary drain on new resources, efficiency and usefulness at its best. It's no wonder South Africa is amongst some of the world's top PET recycling countries. So don't throw used soft drink or water bottles in the bin. Recycle them. Plastic bottles are not trash.
Don't say men are.
Okay, colleagues. You saw this, right? Called the preform. So this is before it's a bubble is created. They create what we call a preform first, so that we can be able to transport more bottles across country. Because if we're transporting 5-liter bottles within a truck, we could be transporting less amount. So we're transporting these preforms. You can see how big it is up here, which means this was going to be a 5-liter bottle. How they do it? They use blow molding. There's a machine that holds like this, hits it a bit. Once it starts to melt, then they blow air inside, then it becomes any shape that we want to create. Can anyone tell me just one product created out of PET?
Besides the bottle.
Any product created out of PET? Comments. Definitely. It's only it's what you learned. No, another question. Yeah.
Guys, I spoke about molding. Ne? Can you just give me one example? I talked about 4 types of mold. Yes. Yes. You see the importance of taking an opportunity. Imagine someone answered and said injection should go.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, do you have any questions for us? We have a lot we can show you, but we don't want to keep here the whole night. There's a lot we can show you. But do you have any questions? My advice to you is that regardless of you're going to become the most elite teacher, make the most money, you still won't survive with one income. So you should think about making money from your own waste. That's all I'm saying. Any support you need can start with you from nothing to a multi-national company. I'm not talking about stories. It's happening now. Right? So it's just up to you. Yes, sir.
Do you have any of those sorting centres in sort of the Etegwini area?
So
Because, you know, we've got people who collect, but sometimes they don't come around, and then they just, you see packets getting dumped.
Oh, so what happens is we support the companies, but we don't run them. We are only support. So I always say to people, wherever you see someone is collecting but they're struggling with selling, that's an opportunity for us to create the buy-side sector. So whoever that person is, if you wanna link them, whether it's a group or what, then we can work with them too, so that they become the people where people can sell to them. Because if we use all our effort to try and transport it, then we'll never grow this opportunity. We'll never grow the community. We need them to own their waste, make their own money that way. So we do have a list of recyclers though. Maybe some of them would be closer, so we can just engage us and we'll give you the information.
Yeah, I think that's best to give you the list of bike licenses, just in case a scenario like that happens. We call them because they will gladly come and take it. They know it's money. Getting it for free.
Literally, in our area in Panta, there is a company that comes around and collects cardboard and plastic. You know, sometimes that they don't collect. And then next minute, you know, we do orange bags, so then we end up with 4 orange bags, and you sit there thinking, when are they coming, or what am I going to do with this?
Okay.
And then I see people dumping at the Westville Civic Centre there, you know, and they're huge, and they don't collect plastic.
No, we'll give you more options.
Yeah, it would be good if there are places where people can take, because people do like to recycle.
We'll ensure to do that, to give you more options, but like I'm saying, I would love for us to create the option.
Like
the area.
in Mlazi now.
Yeah, in the area.
Yeah.
Or even here in
Borders.
Alright guys, that's all we had for you. We don't want to keep you long. If you don't have any questions.
Where is the register?